I'm Ryan and I'm back again. You know already. Tonight I am reviewing / reacting to the Roy Halladay E60 special, Imperfect, that they showed last night. 10 years to the day of his perfect game against the then Florida Marlins, now Miami Marlins. I'm really just going to talk about the last 30 minutes because the first 30 minutes was stuff we already knew, which they did very well, but most people who watched this special were Roy Halladay fans. Roy Halladay is the reason why I'm a Toronto Blue Jays fan. He was my first favorite baseball player. My first favorite player. Him and Scott Rowland both were my first favorite players, but Rowland was a little bit later, but still the same year. I lived in St. Louis. You can't say anything bad. I still live in St. Louis. You can't get mad. It is what it is. Whatever. But it talked about Roy Halladay, how he got into flying in baseball, how he got drafted, how he changed his pitching style after he got sent down to Single A in 2001. Talked about his perfect game and his playoff no-hitter. But we're going to start at the point where we started learning new things, or what I thought was new information and stuff I didn't know and stuff that shocked me a little bit. But that's the point of this film, which is what his wife, Brandy, said, is this film's point was to show that he wasn't perfect. He was an amazing pitcher and also a great person, but he wasn't perfect like we all thought he was. He wasn't always Doc, which I understand that, and that was a good way to make this special documentary movie. It is what it is. So, let's start. 2011, Game 5 of the NLDS against the St. Louis Cardinals, which, personal background here, in my eyes, whoever won that game was who I was going to root for to win the World Series, win it all, because it was either Roy Halladay wins his ring or I have to root for my hometown team, because I lived in St. Louis, still do, since I was 4. I've lived in St. Louis since I was 4. If I didn't root for them, it's not really a good thing. At least at that point, I was kind of afraid of, well, not afraid, but I knew I thought if I didn't root for the Cardinals, if they moved on, I'd probably be a little bit hated, or people would get angry at me. I wouldn't say hated, but people would get angry at me. Was a Blue Jays fan first. Everybody knew that. So everybody kind of said, so what are you going to do with this series? Because I know you're a Halladay fan. And I'm like, I'm just going to sit down. I want Halladay to win his games, but whoever wins, I'm going to root for. But I wanted Halladay to get his ring. But at least I was only rooting for him when he was pitching. But in the other games, I rooted for the Cardinals. But I wanted it to get to a Game 5. And it did. And I actually went to one of the games in St. Louis during that series, and you damn well know I wore a Cardinals jersey to that game because I'm not stupid. And Roy didn't pitch anyway, so whatever. Let's get back to it. In that game, Game 5, he popped his back and he slipped a disc. And this is what started the road to the tragedy. Because after they got eliminated, he woke up, his back seized on him. He fell to the ground, and he got on pain meds, opioids, prescribed to him not by his personal doctor or a team doctor, but a doctor not prescribed, but referred to him by a teammate, a friend. And he started abusing those opioids for the rest of his career, putting more pain on his shoulder to compensate for his back, so he got on opioids even more. This was 2012, which I went to see Roy Halladay pitch in a game in 2012. May 2012, against the Cardinals. He was only in the game for 2 innings. It was depressing. I won't say I went because Halladay was pitching, but he ended up pitching, so that was nice. But the sad part was his back injury made him only pitch 2 innings, and it wasn't a vintage Halladay performance, which was sad. But back to the point. So, for the rest of his career, he abused opioids and pain medications. And he needed to get help. So, after his final season, he went to rehab to try to get help. And then 3 weeks later, a fan or somebody, not a fan I should say, but a person smuggled in a phone, recognized who he was, and he was afraid he was going to get put out to the media. And he didn't want that because that would hurt his image. And he was afraid of his image being tarnished. So he left. And he still kept abusing the pain meds. And then 2 years later, he went to rehab for 3 months, but it didn't really seem to help. He also got a therapist, but it didn't seem to help. They actually diagnosed him with ADD and depression, which added to the medicine cocktail, and that's basically what set it up. He was afraid of his image being tarnished, and that's sad because Halladay was an amazing pitcher, seems like a great person, I think. From everything I've seen and heard, seems like a great person. So what happened is a tragedy, but then he started, after rehab and getting into the Colorado Sports Hall of Fame, because he's from Colorado, Denver, he started coaching his son's baseball team, high school baseball team. Braden Halladay, the one who pitches for Penn State, who is amazing as well, and I hope Braden succeeds to a high level, and I will be a fan of him whenever he gets to the minors. Am now, but whenever he gets to the minors and the majors, whatever team he plays for, he could play for the Yankees, and I'll be a fan of him. I know that sounds bad, but whatever. But Roy got his pilot's license around that time, and as well started coaching, or actually 2013-14, he got his pilot's license, and he also started coaching his son's baseball team, and he also, something the documentary forgot to mention, was he also worked as a special assistant coach for the Phillies during spring training camp in Clearwater. So, there's that. So, they say all that. And he finally won a championship coaching his son's baseball team. Finally felt fulfilled. And then months later, the plane incident, the plane crash. He said he was going to go meet his wife at one of his son's band concerts, but he was going to take the plane to the airport, but he ended up flying it over the Gulf of Mexico, and here's the thing that gets me. The way ESPN put it, the way they put the plane crash, him saying he wanted to fly to the airport, the plane to the airport, and then he ends up flying to the Gulf of Mexico and just ends up crashing. I don't want to say this, but ESPN painted it like it looked like he wanted to kill himself. He wanted to commit suicide. But then him being depressed and all that, that eats at me. Because I saw the toxicology report after it happened. All the Blue Jays fans did. We knew he was on this cocktail of medicines. It is what it is. We knew about the crash. We saw somebody take a video of his tricks. So, it is what it is. But then this comes out, and ESPN tries to frame it like it was a suicide, or at least that's what it sounded like to me. And that, I just can't fathom. But then again, it's probably another thing of him not wanting his reputation being tarnished. His depression finally got him, I guess. I mean, it makes all, if you start adding it up, everything they put together in this film, it starts adding up. If you think about it, because even when they talked about the crash itself, they were like, he said he was going to fly to the airport, but he ended up flying over the Gulf of Mexico. And he told his wife he was going to fly to the airport. It even hit there. But if you put all of this together, everything they said, it sounds like he killed himself. It sounds like he finally had enough. That hurts. That hurts. That film hurt to watch. Because, again, Roy Halladay was my first favorite baseball player. And I loved watching him pitch. I loved watching him dominate. And he got me to become a Toronto Blue Jays fan. I've been a Blue Jays fan, and in actuality, just a Toronto sports fan. I'm a Toronto sports fan because of Roy Halladay. If you want me to simplify it, there it is for you. Him. Because of him. And then I fell into everything else. It's him. It's always been him. And to watch that film, and to watch the way ESPN put it, and then I thought about it all last night, I'm like, holy shit. The dude could have killed himself. It wasn't. The more I think about it, I don't think it was an accident. I don't think he accidentally crashed. I don't think it was the drugs. I think he killed himself. And I don't want to say that as, it's not an expert opinion, but if you watch the film and then listen to the whole thing, it's like, holy shit, he did that? If you think about it, if you watch it and then just think about it, even after just them talking about the crash by itself at the end, I'm like, could have been a suicide. Then think about everything they said in that last 30 minutes, I'm like, yep, it could have been very likely a suicide. I mean, think about it. It hurts. It hurts me to think that. Because it's kind of like Kobe Bryant for most people. And even I hurt after I heard about the Kobe thing. I was a Kobe fan as well. And by the way, the Raptors sucked, okay? I could have been a Kobe fan. The Lakers were in a different conference. The Raptors sucked at the time. So, hey, I can be a Kobe fan too. I like Kobe. He was amazing to watch. So, yeah, the Kobe thing hurt too. But this, Halladay, that was my Kobe. Because that was my first favorite ever baseball player and the reason I'm a Toronto sports fan. He is the reason. So, of course, that's my Kobe. That's the thing that hurts the most. But if you want to compare it, it's two people who seem invincible and amazing dying. Ending up dying young. It's crazy, ain't it? It's crazy, ain't it? And if you want to bring in another person like that, you can bring in Tony Gwynn. Padres player, Mr. Padre. Almost hit 494. Again, died young. After being somebody who people thought was invincible and a superhero. This is a thing. I'm starting to realize that the people you think are invincible and heroes, they end up dying early. And that hurts. That hurts. It just hurts. And it is what it is. So yeah, I'll compare it. But yeah, to watch that film, around the end, I started crying like I said I would cry. It hurt. It was heavy. It was heavy. It was a weight dropped on me. Not just me, but every Halladay fan, whether you're a Blue Jay fan or a Philly fan. Dropped. Dropped. That's what it was. It was pain. It opened up something in your brain you don't want to think about. And then it just added on like, hey, there's this little fact that you didn't really know when it happened. Here's the salt to go in there, and you just think about it. And it hurts. It hurts to think about. It really is. Because it makes you realize people aren't as invincible as you think. When you grow up watching them and they're like your hero, so to speak. And you watch them and you're like, he's amazing. He's strong. Not as strong as you think. Not as super as you think. Not as invincible as you think. And it's pain. And when it happens, it hurts. But then they bring out these details, making you think, he may have done it to himself. It may not have been an accident. He may have done it to himself. And that's just even worse. And I have to say, ESPN did well on this E60. And all of the interviews they got, amazing. And I'm not mad at ESPN for the way they put it. I'm not. They just put it the way they put it. And to be honest, I can see it. I can see it being Roy Halladay committed suicide. And to think about that is just nuts. And it hurts. But it is what it is. But ESPN made a wonderful documentary movie, just like they did with Lance Armstrong and The Last Dance. I cried. I didn't enjoy it, but I don't know how to put it without sounding like making it sound bad. Like, I'm not saying I enjoyed it, but it was good programming. Let's put it like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was good programming. It was good to watch. Not fun to watch, not enjoying to watch, but it was good programming. The Halladay one. Now, The Last Dance, yeah, enjoyable. Lance Armstrong, I really don't know because I don't care. Lance Armstrong is kind of a doper and just a cyclist. Who cares? If you like cycling, yeah, sure. I don't care. I don't care. Cycling to me is like NASCAR. Yeah, I'm from Mississippi and I don't like NASCAR. I know, crazy. I'm not a hick. Not that much of a hick yet, at least. I don't think I'll ever like NASCAR, but who knows? I mean, I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, so I liked this E60, and it was heart-wrenching for sure, but makes you learn something, or learn something you didn't know, you know? So yeah. So if you like this video, like it, share, subscribe. You know what it is. Tell all your friends. Tomorrow I'm back with a song cover. It is what it is. I'm Ron and I'm out. Peace.